Hey everyone, Meteorologist Ethan Emery here in the Fox 19 First Alert Streaming Center, and we're talking a couple of strong to severe storms, mainly for our far eastern counties. This won't be a long live stream. I just want to give you all an update, and apologies for the slight delay. We're running into a couple of technical issues, but we do have one active warning into the Fox 19 Now viewing area. That is in southern portions of Adams County and northern Lewis County. And we're only available here on the 24/7 Weather Streaming Channel, Facebook, and YouTube. The Bengals game is on the Fox 19 right now. But this warning here, it's a warning for wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour, as well as quarter-sized hail or 1-inch diameter hail. And this warning is in effect until 3:30 here this afternoon. So next 30 minutes until that warning does expire. And we do have a lot of heavy rain associated with this storm, in addition to the threat of, again, strong wind gusts here in the tri-state for those folks over towards Adams and Lewis counties. Looks like even some very heavy rain over towards Robertson County. This is not warned, and there's also no warning in effect for folks over towards Maysville or over towards the Ripley area, but you're looking at some strong gusty winds there as well. So right now, again, this warning is just for Adams County and northern portions of Lewis County. It's kind of hard to see it with the radar. I'll turn that back off. So it's right here behind me. You can see that area in orange. It includes West Union. It includes folks right along the Ohio River in Adams County. Zoom in a little bit to see other locations that are under this warning here. So Cedar Mills, right along Ohio 348, Squirreltown, Concord, Beasley Fork, all these areas under the impact of seeing those wind gusts, as well as Tulip, under wind gusts, again, getting as high as perhaps 60 miles per hour. We'll switch it over to what we call velocity or winds, and I want to show you here that this little green line here, this is the main line of the storm. I'm not seeing anything in terms of threats for tornadoes with this. It just looks like straight line winds with this line. There was a little bit of rotation earlier here towards the Concord area. However, I will say that that was, I believe, higher up, so the storm might have had a little bit of rotation, but it looked rather weak, and there are no concerns for anything with regards to tornadic activity with this. It looks like it's just a straight line wind scenario with this. And we'll switch it now back over to radar because, again, a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain for those folks in Adams County, and then along with that, the potential for some hail. Now, I will say these storms have not had as much large hail, but still hail nonetheless. And even if you're going to be outside, you should get inside in a warning. But one thing to take note of is a lot of lightning with this. And even outside of the storm, lightning can still impact even as far as 10 miles away from the storm. So if you do hear thunder, you do want to go inside and seek shelter, even if, again, you're outside the warning. So if you're in portions of Lewis County, Mason County, of course, Robertson County, a lot of lightning for folks down and towards the Mount Olivet area. But this is the only active weather we have right now with regards to any kind of warning. So it's over towards Adams County, Lewis County, where the warning is in effect. Even though it's not warned, a lot of lightning, a lot of heavy rain, and some gusty winds for folks in towards Mason and Robertson counties. Just want to give you this update just because, again, we are keeping a close eye on this here at the First Alert Weather Center. And there are what we call special weather statements. I'm sure you've seen it on social media. If you don't know what that is, it means it's a hazardous storm. It's a statement for hazardous weather. It's not quite severe limits, but it is still strong nonetheless. And over towards Mason and Robertson counties, there is a special weather statement with hail up to a ½ inch size, and then also wind gusts up to 45 miles per hour. So those are the only active alerts we have right now. Otherwise, everyone else in the Fox 19 Now viewing area is dry. And I will say these areas that have been seeing this rain, it's much needed rain. So I'm sure a lot of folks out there are at least enjoying it, but of course they don't enjoy the strong winds and the lightning as well as the hail. And if you were under that warning earlier in northern Adams County, or perhaps if you were in the storms earlier that didn't have warnings on them but were still strong storms, if you have any photos of, if you have any damage perhaps, or cool storm cloud photos, you can send those to us at fox19.com/pics. That is PICS. And now what we're going to do is take a look at the forecast model, because I know a lot of folks in Cincinnati metro area might be curious to see what the storm chances will be like this afternoon and this evening, because we do have that threat for maybe a couple of strong storms as we head into the evening hours. So what we're going to do now real quick is update this model here to reflect the latest stuff. So this model's doing a fairly decent job with what's happening right now. So we go ahead and play it forward in time, so 3, 4, 5 o'clock, still some active weather for our far eastern counties. And then we play this forward, and you can see some development does take place, but this looks rather sub-severe. So if you're curious for the threat of strong storms, if you're in the Cincinnati metro area, northern Kentucky, southeast Indiana, I think the severe threat is very low for you at this point. I think if anything is going to potentially be strong or severe like it is right now, it's going to be to our far eastern counties. So Maysville, Georgetown, West Union, Hillsborough, Vanceburg. Those areas might see a couple more strong to severe storms here over the next couple of hours. But otherwise, I think the severe threat is a little bit limited now with that rain-cooled air behind this line of storms. And you'll see that we go into tonight, things will clear out for the Fox 19 Now viewing area. So that's the forecast model. We'll go back one more time, look at the warning, and then look at radar, and then we're going to wrap this up. I'll take a look at some Facebook comments here in just a moment, but I just want to give you that heads up that we do have a couple of, we did have a couple of warnings. Now it is just one severe thunderstorm warning, and waiting for this computer to load. There we go. So now it looks like it's been trimmed back a little bit, so it's only for far southeastern portions of Adams County. So fairly rural area, but still they matter just as much as anybody else here in the tri-state. Over towards Cedar Mills, Tulip, Pink, which is right on the Adams County, I believe that's the Scioto County state line, Squirreltown, and then this is just to the east of Brush Creek, if you're familiar with that region. But that warning is in effect until 3:30. And looking at radar right now, you can see, again, a lot of heavy rain. I will say I turned off the lightning, but very frequent lightning associated with this line of storms. And these storms here, again, torrential rainfall, wind gusts perhaps up to 60 miles per hour, and could have some hail associated with it, though I have not seen any reports of quarter-sized hail. But to be on the side of caution, that hail could create some damage, minor damage possible with that. And that's the only, I'm looking at another radar tool. This area here is the only area that is going to have that potential for those gusts up to 60 miles per hour. All the storms down towards Maysville and Mount Olivet, they are strong. They are bringing in some gusty winds, but it does not look like damaging winds at this point. However, again, if you do have any photos or videos of potential storm damage that you can take safely, your safety is very important, you can send those to us at fox19.com/pics. Delbert on the Fox 19 Facebook page, planning to visit Starlight in Amelia tonight for the double feature. We're going to have to watch it through the rain. So there will be, I think, a pop-up chance, but the chance is rather low. Keep those plans in Amelia, but there could be a cell or two that may fire up from the moisture behind all this, but it does not look to be strong or severe, but it could bring in some a brief downpour at best. So keep the plans, Delbert. Sandy, Franklin County, like I said, looks pretty dry. I showed you the forecast model not long ago, but there could be a pop-up chance, but I think the chance is rather low of anything strong or severe at this time. Angie, how about Warren County for the rest of the day? The severe threat is very low for you at this point in Warren County, but can't rule out a pop-up chance for a shower or rumble of thunder, just how humid the atmosphere is before the main frontal system does move through and brings us some milder air going into the latter half of this week and into next week. So Warren County, severe threat, pretty much non-existent. I don't want to rule it out entirely, but it does look like a very, very low threat for anything strong. It's just going to be a pop-up chance through the evening. Mandy, Mount Orb is a mess. Can you be more specific, Mandy? Or what do you refer to? Are you referring to heavy rain, potential of standing water? Are you referring to gusty winds that maybe had some damage? Let me know. Jeff said, sorry, late getting on here. How about Greenfield? Well, Greenfield now is behind this line of what was strong thunderstorms. And right now, Greenfield, just like everybody else, the severe threat has gone down a lot, but I don't want to rule it out entirely here for the next several hours, that areas to our east. So east of I-71, though this main line is passing through, there may be additional redevelopment that happens this afternoon, and that additional development could lead to some strong wind gusts as well as heavy rain, but that's going to be the only threats this afternoon for you folks over towards Greenfield, Hillsborough, Georgetown, West Union, Maysville, those locations who are already seeing right now strong to severe storms. But areas west of I-71, your severe threat's pretty much zero. Don't want to say fully zero, but it looks very low. Mandy, okay. Mandy said lots of power lines and trees down. Mandy, you're saying in Mount Orab. Okay, so if you can take the photo safely, obviously if it doesn't look to be safe, don't worry about it. Not to mention if you're not in that area of impact, if you can't see it, if there's a lot of first responders on the scene, try to give them that space. But it's good to have visuals, but obviously safety and making sure that the first responders have the space and area to do what they need to do. Obviously, that's more important. But thanks. I will go ahead and relay that to the National Weather Service, Mandy. So thank you for letting us know about that. Crystal said Williamsburg had extremely hard rain earlier. I know. The storms looked pretty gnarly when I was coming into work earlier from Milford. So these storms, torrential rainfall, like we told you the last couple of days, as well as those strong wind gusts. And it's happening right now for folks over to our southeastern counties towards Maysville, Vanceburg areas here at this point. And the only warning right now is in far southeastern Adams County, and that storm, the severe wind gusts are almost out of the tri-state. So some good news there. Okay, that's all the comments. So again, we are just looking at the threat for a couple of strong storms continuing for our far southeastern areas here for the next 30 minutes or so. So if you're in Lewis County or know anybody in Lewis County, they may see some strong wind gusts there. But the last severe warning that's here in southeastern Adams County looks to be going away here the next 10-15 minutes as well. Other than that, though, no additional warnings right now. And like I said, everyone else in the tri-state is dry, but I cannot rule out some pop-up showers through about 8, 9 o'clock. And you can see areas to our north towards Indiana, over towards here in central Ohio. These little cells here, they're not severe. They're not even really strong, but they are dumping in some downpours and a breeze with it. And I think that could develop over in here with kind of the atmosphere we're dealing with. But the severe threats, they're beginning to go down with this main line. However, if you are in southeastern portions of the tri-state, again, West Union, Maysville, Vanceburg, Georgetown, Hillsborough, I don't want to rule out maybe an additional strong storm later today, but I will say with this main line, the threats are beginning to go down a little bit. But if you're out west of I-71, I think you're going to be okay. Just watch out for a brief downpour and gusty winds with any kind of pop-up that may develop here this afternoon. Something we'll be monitoring here all afternoon here in the Fox 19 First Alert Weather Center. And let me see if I have anything else that I need to add before we close things off, because I got to get ready to do forecast update as well as get stuff ready for 19 at 6, which will be live here on Facebook and everywhere else, because I know the Bengals game is going on right now on Fox 19. Got a couple comments on my Facebook page. I'll make sure that we are making sure they have their questions answered. Mandy says, so you said Northern Kentucky shouldn't see any severe storms tonight. Yeah, tonight the threat's gone. The threat tonight is non-existent. The threat is just today with the daytime heating and kind of the storm energy we have here this afternoon. Tyresia, if I mispronounce your name, I apologize. Asking about downtown Cincinnati. Yeah, the threats look pretty low for Cincinnati at this point. Looks like, if anything, maybe a downpour, a brief gust of wind this afternoon with these pop-ups you see here. But again, I'm not suspecting severe weather. The severe weather event is still to our southeast for the next few hours, the potential for it, but I think at this point this main line has kind of cut off that threat here this afternoon. Mandy says, will Falmouth get any strong, severe storms tonight? No. Tonight, I'm not foreseeing any kind of severe weather because at that point the system's going to be passing through. We do have some milder air working into the tri-state. One more look at the Fox 19 comments, and then we'll go ahead and sign off here. Rick, how's the Reds game looking tonight? We've been talking with them. I think we're going to be okay. There might be a pop-up shower, but it looks to be brief. It does not look to be anything long-term. Again, like I was showing you a moment ago, up towards Indiana and central and northern Ohio, it's these little popcorn variety showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, and maybe a brief light gust of wind, 30 miles per hour at best. But other than that, though, I don't foresee anything more than that. So rain chances are not out of here yet. This main line here is the threat for strong storms. There could be an additional threat here in the next couple of hours for these far southeastern locations as these storms may redevelop behind. You can see right here some redevelopment is occurring, but other than that, I think these areas here could have an additional threat for some strong storms through about 5-6 p.m. Areas to the west, I don't think are going to have that severe threat. If anything, a brief downpour, a gust of wind, some thunder, and lightning. I believe that's all the questions. So at this point, we're going to go ahead and close things off because I got to get back to work on some stuff. And that severe warning is, okay, they just issued a new severe thunderstorm warning. Excellent. So we'll talk about that real quick. Let's turn that to here. Okay, so they issued this warning. It's just this main line. They're just doing it as a precaution, it looks like, for southeastern Robertson County, central and southeastern Mason counties, almost all of Lewis County, and then southeastern Adams County. And I think this is just to be on the safe side with how this storm has been progressing in terms of having the potential for those strong straight line winds. So 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, quarter-sized hail, though I will say the hail reports have not come in very much so far. But the winds have been the primary threat, as well as the very heavy rain that has come down with these storms. So this includes Maysville, includes Mays-Lick, Vanceburg, Concord, over towards Garrison, if you're familiar with these areas, and it's just outside of Mount Olivet. But notice here, a lot of heavy rain. This line here is moving through. If you got folks in these areas that might need to know the timeline, I will give you that answer right now. So, moving in this direction. So this is mostly for Lewis County, pretty much. Flemingsburg, which is outside the Fox 19 now viewing area, 320. 337 towards Vanceburg. 349 towards Garrison. And then after that, I'll begin to exit the tri-state after 4 o'clock. And again, this is the only severe warning at this point. But still, nonetheless, there could be some potential damaging winds, as well as torrential rainfall and a lot of frequent lightning. You don't want to dismiss the lightning with this because take a look at this. All those white bolts, that is all the lightning strikes that have been happening in the last 5 to 10 minutes. So again, don't want to disregard that. Take it seriously. So if you do hear thunder, you want to go inside, wait for the storm to pass because being struck by lightning is a very dangerous thing, in addition to the damaging winds and the very heavy rainfall. But everyone else in the tri-state, if people are asking about all these other locations, you're dry. You're fine right now. You will see a pop-up chance throughout the next several hours. I think after 8 o'clock, we are going to be done with the pop-up chances because we're looking at some drier air trying to work in, though. I need to update the forecast. I need to look at some more model data. And I'll get back with you. We'll talk more about it on 19 at 6 here coming up in just a little bit. But again, that's the only warnings we have right now. We'll go ahead and close things off. Again, in about just over 2.5 hours from now, we'll be back here on Facebook Live. If anything changes in terms of additional warnings, a lot of reports, something that's urgent, I will come back on here and let you know the very latest. But at this point, thank you all so much for joining us. We've been live on YouTube, Facebook, 24/7 Weather Assuming channel, and on my Facebook page as well. And again, if anything changes, we'll come back here and let you know the very latest. Thanks for trusting us here at Fox 19.